Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, and of course, welcome on back to another LEGO DC Universe Superheroes review. Today we're going to be taking a look at set number 76,000. I should say, I was going to say 7,000, 6,000, which would make absolutely no sense. But nonetheless, it is set number 76000, Arctic Batman versus Mr. Freeze. Aquaman on ice. So Aquaman is going to be on ice, which, again, doesn't really help Aquaman's reputation in the general public, where most people make fun of him, which I really feel bad for, because he's actually a pretty cool character, especially if you've been reading the recent comics by like Jeff Johns and stuff. That stuff is really cool. Like, Aquaman is quite the cool character in those stories. But nonetheless, of course, as you can see, this is a little bit of a smaller set than usual, at least for the last few sets that I've reviewed. It only contains 198 pieces. It's quite an affordable set, typically retailing anywhere from $20 to $25, which is great. So that's an awesome price point because it's affordable and comes with 3 fantastic minifigures, and finally, a different Batman to add to my collection. This is an Arctic Batman. You get Mr. Freeze, which I was super duper happy about, and Aquaman, which I was also super duper happy about because, again, more variety of DC superheroes. So, once you build up this set, you go ahead and assemble it in anywhere from, you go ahead and assemble it after you build it up. That makes no sense. But once you assemble it, which will take you probably 20-ish, maybe up to half an hour, depending on how much you're enjoying it, I would say. Like if you're rushing through it just to finish it, or if you kind of, take it at your own leisure and go at your own pace. So, once you do that, this is what you end up with. So here's the set that you end up with, and as you can see, you end up with a vehicle, and of course all the figurines. There's Batman, there's Aquaman, there's Mr. Freeze, and a little accessory piece, which is actually really neat. I love that thing. That thing is really cool, and you'll see what it is in just a sec. So first off, let's go ahead and move that out of the shot and take a look at the vehicle. So you'll notice there are some really lovely accessories in place, or really lovely points of detail in place, such as, for example, the flame in the back here, which is quite cool. Of course, the big Batman fin coming across, my dog's hair on the table, which is everywhere. I turned into Arnold Schwarzenegger because Mr. Freeze is here. But I have to say, very cool details. There are these little bomb things that you could drop into the water, which is quite cool. This was really a super duper simple thing to assemble, but it's just fun. It just looks cool. It kind of looks like candy. But don't eat it, kids. Please don't. That's a very bad idea. Don't even put that in your mouth. It's dangerous and stuff. Don't do that. So, nonetheless, of course, as you can see, obviously Batman-like design in terms of being very slick and very nice, smooth, and curves and edges to the whole thing, which is quite cool in DDOs. And then, of course, we've got a really nice set of details from some stickers. So we got some stickering work right here, some stickering work right here, and I also forgot to point out the stickering work on the sides over here. The other thing that we have is, of course, an opening and functioning cockpit, which is quite cool. So you can go ahead and slide that out, and once that opens up, Batman can jump on out. One thing that I will say is that Batman does have to have his arms up in order to sit in there comfortably, otherwise the cockpit will press against his helmet. We'll take a look at the Batman figure in just a moment. And then the other thing you want to be a little bit worried about is the fact that the cape does get a little warped, so it's going to be like this. So don't leave the figure in there for a long time, because I think once you pull it out, if you do leave him for a long time, the cape is going to get quite warped. So what you could do is maybe take the cape off just to avoid that from happening. So, let me go ahead and set him aside. We'll take a look at the minifigure, as I said, in just a moment. So, other than that, there's also a really cool feature of some weaponized stuff. So, of course, we have those little mines in the back, but then we also have these firing little discs. And the way they work is that there's these little levers in the back, and it's basically just kind of friction. It holds it in right there, and just by pushing it hard enough, bam, there it goes, flying underneath my desk. That's great. That's great. Oh, can I get it? Can I get it? Can I get it? Come on, fingers, extend. Nope, they didn't extend, but I got it. So there's the little discus. At first, they kind of reminded me like little pizzas. So I was like, oh, yay, Batman uses pizzas to take down the opposition. Now I love him even more. But it isn't pizza. It's kind of like a shuriken or something. So I still love Batman, though, even though it's not pizza. I'm still sure Batman's a big fan of pizza, because he has to be. He's Batman after all, right? I don't know. Maybe you guys disagree. Now, there are some really cool details, like, for example, these little blades here. They're actually a separate piece like that, but they do work really well in terms of creating, like, a bladed feel that would kind of like slice through the water, which is really neat. So I do like that feature quite a bit. We also have these Oh, whoops. That wasn't supposed to come off. That was not supposed to come off. No. I was going to say we have these fins right here, and I started stretching them out because I think I remember the old set that we looked at. Remember the last Batman set we looked at had all those really cool elements that it could outfold. And yes, that was again my dog's hair everywhere. I'm sorry about that, guys. We vacuum every 2 days and it's still everywhere. But that's what happens when you have a golden retriever. Nonetheless, so that is the vehicle. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other item, which is this thing right here. So we're going to go ahead and remove Mr. Freeze from here because we'll look at him in just a moment. But we will need Aquaman, or at least according to packaging, he's the one that is trapped in this thing. Now, the reason why I'm saying trapped is because this thing opens on up like so, and then you do have to remove the trident, which is actually really neat, but again, we'll look at that once we look at the minifigures. And then you can place any regularly sized minifigure in there, which is quite cool, without any accessories, obviously, because it's not going to fit in there, and encapsulate them in ice, which is such a cool feature. I mean, it just gives it such a really unique look, and it works. It does look like he's frozen, which is quite cool. As long as he doesn't let it go, we'll be fine. That was a really bad joke. But nonetheless, there is a cool element here to where Batman could come to the rescue and be like, "Ooh, huzzah!" and just break Aquaman out of the ice. So obviously, it's a very simple build. The way that it comes together is just from friction. You push the little tab up, and then as you encapsulate the minifigure, you just push the tabs onto there. And then obviously what happens is when you push them up, it pops off of their joint. So very, very simple stuff indeed, but it works. And this is the kind of stuff that I love when Lego Ingenuity works like this, where it's simple, there's nothing complex going on, but it's fantastic. So with all that being said, now let's go ahead and take a look at the 3 minifigures in this set. Alrighty guys, so let's begin by taking a look at the one and only Aquaman. As you can see, he's got a really, really cool outfit. Obviously, it's the classic comic book outfit with the orange attire for the torso and then the green leggings. So very, very cool indeed. Even though I think that, from what I recall, the leggings are supposed to have the scales type detail as well, like the shirt does, which would have been kind of cool if they could have printed that on all over the legs. That would have obviously added more to the figure, but it's still really nicely done. He's got that Justin Bieber swagger going on for his haircut. As I mentioned before, the trident is quite cool. I really like that thing right there. And if you want, you could add something else, like maybe a jewel or something into this little peg here, if you have something like that laying around the house. Now, of course, we can also go ahead and remove his hairpiece, rotate the head like so, then place the hairpiece back, and whoop. Okay, there we go. Place the hairpiece back, and then as we rotate around, wablam! There's a very, very angry Aquaman. I'm sure that once he gets out of the ice, this would be the expression he would have. So, if I was Mr. Freeze, I definitely would not want to be in front of Mr. Aquaman at this point. But as you can see, a very, very cool set of appearances for Aquaman here. So let's go ahead and remove him. And now let's take a look at the baddie of this set, and that is, of course, Mr. Freeze, who's just awesome. Very, very well done minifigure indeed. So much great detail for this figure. So first off, of course, a very, very cool freeze blaster right here, where you can see not only the actual pointer that shoots the ice blast, but also the little canister that would provide the material, you know, to actually provide the ice. So I love this thing. It's just really, really fun, simple to build, but at the same time, super duper detailed and really, really neato indeed. Now, I like to actually have him hold it in this hand so that the little piece here doesn't limit it, because if you put it this way, it's right at his chest, so I don't really like that. It kind of obscures a lot of the detail work. So I like to actually keep it in this hand. I think that works a little better, but that's just my own personal preference. Now, of course, as far as the minifigure itself, as you can see right here, he looks quite lovely indeed in terms of detail work. He has this kind of obviously protecting case around him. Not much printing on the legs, but if we go ahead and remove this, you can see there's some really cool printing on the torso with all these like tubings and tubes and connector points all over his chest, and a very, very angry Mr. Freeze. Now, I'm not sure if it's coming off on camera, but his head is white, which is cool because it definitely works super well with the tinted window here because it's bluish, so the white and the blue mixes together into this kind of bluish hue, which is great, and definitely kind of almost reminds me of the Arkham City Mr. Freeze. Not quite perfect, but definitely reminds me of him quite a bit. So let's go ahead and slide that back on to Mr. Freeze, and there's Mr. Freeze, the big bad guy of this set. Very happy to have that minifigure right there. Very, very cool addition to my collection for sure. And then, of course, last but as always, certainly not least, the Arctic Batman. And if you've been watching a lot of my other DC superheroes reviews, especially the Batman sets, you know that I've complained a little bit that you get to the point where, you know, you've got 5 Batmans and they're all wearing the same outfit. And as I said, I think it would be really cool if they did variations, like, you know, do the gray and blue, do the gray and black, do the black and gray, do Dark Knight Batman, which they have. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of just give us more varieties, and this is a perfect answer to that. So we have Arctic Batman, who looks quite awesome indeed. I love this purely gray and white outfit. Looks really, really neat. I love the Bat logo in this coloration. Actually, it works really, really nicely. And I know some people might not like it because of the white helmet, but I think it works well. We've got obviously a white cape. There's still printing work on the back as always, right there. So the belt continues and stuff, which is quite lovely. He of course comes with a batarang. In fact, I think he comes with 3 of them, from what I recall. At least, I'm pretty sure. At least 2, but I think it was actually 3. And then, of course, just like all the other Batmans, he comes with a little headband where Bruce can't see. I never figured that out. And also a different expression, kind of more of a serious, not such a snarking expression right there, which is quite cool indeed. And again, very, very menacing fella for sure. So let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Freeze and of course also Aquaman into this shot so that you guys can see all 3 of them next to one another, and they look quite cool indeedios. So there you go, guys. That is the review for set number 70,000, 9,000, or whatever I said at the beginning. I think it was like 7,000, 6,000. What was I going to say? Something goofy like that. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, the set is, of course, Arctic Batman versus Mr. Freeze, Aquaman on ice. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up the video. That would really help me out a ton. On top of that, let me know down in the comment section below which other LEGO sets you would like for me to review. And of course, as always, I will catch you folks next time. Peace out. See you laters, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.